Put a finger down if your paycheck hits and is basically gone within 48 hours. Put a finger down if you've checked your bank balance more times this week than you care to admit. Also put a finger down if budgeting feels like a word for people who have extra money to budget. I mean, if you put any fingers down, then this video is actually for you. What I'm going to give you are 6 things that actually help when money is tight. So let's get into it. Now, before you build any kind of budget, you need real data. You need the actual numbers that show up in your bank statements every day. So what I want you to do is pull up the last 30 to 90 days of transactions and review every single transaction. What I've done is I have an AI query that helps me review my bank statements. So if you send me a note, I will send that over to you so that you can use that to review your bank statements. People find at least one thing that they're still paying for that they should not be paying for. And it could be a subscription that you signed up for and the free trial has expired. It could be an overdraft fee that's currently stacking up. Or it could just be that you don't know what you don't know yet. So you have a leak that you're not even aware of yet. So by reviewing your transactions, you would find that leak and then you will plug it. So now that you know where your money has been going to, it is actually time to build the budget itself. And I want you to forget the popular budgeting rules that you've heard about. Those rules assume that you have extra space in your income, which you don't. Now, since you don't have this extra space, what we're going to do is we're going to build a bare bones budget. And this is how it works. For every single category, which is housing, food, transportation, everything, you put the minimum amount that that category needs to function, right? I'm not saying put the minimum amount that feels comfortable. Put the minimum amount that you need for each category without running into problems for the month. So once you've built that bare bones number, anything that you earn above that is the only money you can genuinely budget with. It's the only money you can make decisions with. That is your real budget. Everything below the line is not optional. You can't mess with that. But everything above it, you can budget with. You've probably heard this advice, which is pay yourself first. I mean, you've heard that 100 times, and it's solid advice. But it is for somebody who has breathing room in their budget. But when money is genuinely tight, the order that you invest, the order that you make your budget, it can actually work against you. So let me give you something that actually works better. First, budget for survival costs, which is rent, utilities, minimum debt payments, food, and whatever helps you get to work. So I'm talking transport costs. Then the second thing, budget for a small savings buffer, even if it's maybe like $20 to $50 a paycheck. Automate it so you don't have to think about it. Put it somewhere you don't have to touch every day. Now, the third thing is everything else that is not 0.1 or 2, just cut it out of your budget. Now, why does this order matter so much? Why is this important to do it this way? Because if you try to save 20% while your bills are currently at 95% of your income, you're not actually saving. You're just setting yourself up for disappointments and setting yourself up for a withdrawal from your emergency fund, which you don't really have. So I want you to be realistic so that you have something to hold on to. Now, the fourth thing you can actually do, and this is the tip that I want you to actually work on because it is the one that most people skip. So this is tip number 4. In a tight budget setting, 2 or 3 categories make up the vast majority of your spending. And it's almost always your rent, groceries, and debt payments. Everything else combined, it barely moves the needle. Everything else combined is just small in comparison. So here's where your energy should go. Look hard into refinancing or renegotiating any debts that you're currently carrying. Even if you have a lower interest rate, if you can get a lower interest rate on your debts, it will free up some money for you on a monthly basis. Also look at your housing cost and ask yourself, can you bring that down in some way, shape, or form? Maybe you get a roommate, maybe you get a smaller apartment. Anything that can help you reduce your monthly cost would go a long way. And with groceries, stop trying to buy cheap things, right? What you should do is plan your meals ahead so that you can use some base ingredients, plan a good meal that will stretch you for the week. And some people also have streaming subscriptions, multiple streaming subscriptions, which don't really add value. You only need one. So cut out the excess because most of them give you the same value anyways. So retain one, then cut the rest off. Now, you've probably heard the advice to save 3 to 6 months of expenses, right? It's common advice. Most people say that everywhere, and it works. If that number feels unattainable, if that number feels very, very comical right now that you can't really attain it, I understand and I empathize. What you should do is break it down into stages. Rather than aiming for 6 months, break it down even further. And now the first step towards working towards that is aim for 1 week just to get ahead of your bills. So if you can get 1 week of savings, that alone gives you some breathing room. Then you can build on that 1 week to get in 1 month of savings. Only after that, once you've gotten 1 month, should you start thinking of building a larger emergency fund. Now, every of these things works in stages. So there's a real pressure that comes with hitting each stage. So don't put too much pressure on getting to 6 months when you should be working towards getting 1 week or 1 month. Now, the final tip is this, which is tip number 6. If your income changes on a month-to-month basis, what I mean is if you don't have consistent income from month on to month, so maybe you're a freelance worker, you work variable hours, don't make the mistake of budgeting around your average month. Instead, budget with your lowest realistic monthly income. That means if you use the lowest month to budget, it means when your strongest month comes through, your extra income, you will see it and it won't just disappear into thin air because you can plan that into something else in your budget, right? So your extra income will either go to paying off your debt or to go into savings. That habit alone, it will make a huge difference, and then you would see that you are moving ahead with your budgeting. None of these 6 tips require you to earn more money overnight, right? They just require you to be more precise and more intentional with where your money is going to, which is something you can start with and implement from today. So if this video has helped you in any way, do me a favor and drop a comment telling me which tip you're going to be starting with this week, and share this video with somebody who will find it very helpful. I read every comment and I also interact with every comment, so let me know what to cover next, and I'll see you on the next one.